Hello YouTube, De-bodgery here. Welcome to EV Components Review. This is a rant about repairability for ASI hardware. And I will probably say this more than once, but repairability is exceedingly low. The first time I'd ever taken a back controller or an ASI controller apart was the back 8000, and I snapped off several parts from the circuit board, including this inductor right here, which I did again, despite knowing it was there. This time it wasn't my fault. I caught the other one with my spooger and snapped it off. This time around, it literally broke off when I was pulling the potting away. So all this flexible potting pulled that up. On the back 8000, I did pull up a couple of other small components, and this one I succeeded in only damaging one part. So good job there, I guess. Definitely like doing a better job than that, but yeah, repairability on ASI is low, and I think they deliberately design it that way. Yeah, the first thing you're going to run into is just getting the shell apart. So this lid comes off pretty easy. This end cap comes off pretty easy. You just, take the 3 screws out and it'll pull away this way, no problem. This one, however, not so much. Yeah, you have to pull it, you have to take it away this way a little bit first, and then you kind of tilt it, and then you have to slowly start pulling it up. But all inside here, it's all filled with potting, so it doesn't want to come up easy. And you have all these pins going through it, because that's where the connectors are. And so you can't just pull it away this way. You have to kind of pry the bottom out, keep pulling and keep pulling, and it's all full of potting too, so it doesn't come up easy. It's rather difficult. This takes probably 30 minutes just to pull this one side cover off. And as you can see, the pins get pretty mangled in the process. So that's the exact same thing that happened with the back 8000, that they just get pretty well wrecked. Yeah, they can be straightened back out again, but good grief. All they had to do was put this all inside a sealed enclosure and not do all the potting, and it would have been just fine in that regard. This controller, once you get inside, the potting peels right up because this stuff doesn't stick to anything. It's basically just laying on everything. Once you get inside it, you can peel it up pretty easily, which I did. And like I said, only one little part came up this time around. But you still have to deal with this. And that's another problem in itself. Yeah, ASI repairability is low. Very, very low. And these two things make it that way, along with that end cap right there. So these pieces right here, when there's nothing for them to press against, they will drop into that slot no problem, and you can pull them right back out again. But when they have, a row of Mosfets right here, and these are pressed in place, these don't come back out again. They have a special tool, some kind of a press, and basically it's these blades that come down and they push those things in place. So I have theorized on how they do assembly here, and here's basically what I think it is. So all the Mosfets, they're all basically laying down. They have the insulator tape on them that's going to then sit on top of here. So all that stuff's in place. They stick the board in here like this, and they slide these in from the ends because they've got no tension on them yet. And the Mosfets are kind of bent a little bit up so that they've got a little bit of clearance in there. And once these are in place, they've got some kind of a press that then it's got 2 blades, and it pops those things, these holder thingies, whatever you want to call them, into those slots. And it does it under a tremendous amount of force to be able to pull that off. So once they are in there, now they've got all the Mosfets trapped underneath here, and this piece of metal is wedged in there really good. Maybe if you have some kind of a special tool that can press against this edge over here, and then has some kind of a special blade or block or something, that then again is like hydraulic, that you can then shove everything all out the one end, maybe you can get these things apart without damage. But yeah, it's not easy. This time around, I was much more aware of how these little things were going to be a giant pain in the neck. And so I was driving them much more evenly, and I was much more aware of what was going on with the Mosfets. Despite all that, I still, whichever one it is, yeah, that one right there. So this Mosfet right here, and look at how wonky everything is. This is my fault, I guess, from driving everything out, but everything gets shoved all at the same time. I still snapped off the leg off of that MOSFET right there anyway. Even though these are the two end ones, I was constantly pushing them back into place again. They still got pretty well mangled, as you can see. Everything is all shifted around and stuff. Yeah, repairability on ASI controllers is very low. This is an ASI rant about repairability, which is basically, we don't want you fixing our controllers ever. Once we build them, you will buy another one before we let you repair it, is essentially how I read this. Because this has got to be one of the hardest, for having flexible potting in it, which is pretty easy to remove. This is probably the hardest controller to extract from its shell. Yeah, even like, say, the Teleria and Ceron, which has got, stone hard potting in it. Once you get that potting out, it comes out pretty easy. But, I mean, that does lift up a lot of parts with it, too. So this one doesn't do that, at least, because of flexible potting. But still, getting it out of here, geez, that is a giant pain in the neck. Getting this cover off, geez, what a giant pain in the neck. The chances that you come out undamaged is negligible. Negligible. Yeah, repairability on ASI products is astronomically low. Not without having to fix things in the process. You're probably going to tear off legs. This is the second time around now, and I knew this thing was in here, that I've broken off that exact same inductor. So yeah, repairability is not that great. ASI, guys, come on, really? I know you don't want to have people looking at your hardware, but guess what? I do teardowns, and I'm going to take your stuff apart, and I'm going to show it on camera for the whole world to see. So get over yourselves and make your hardware repairable.